What is good, everybody? This is Charles from Team COG coming at you guys with a testing video showcasing the new cards from AGOV with Manadium and Infernoble here. So I ended up losing the dice roll, so Jason is going to summon out Finra here, my buddy here. The Finra is so insane. Like, I honestly think this card needs to go. The fact that this card literally checks so many things, it's insane. But it's really good for the Manadium strategy here. And I do not believe I opened any hand traps this game. And as you see here, this is what it does for Manadium. It like bridges, like the Finra bridge, it gets you to like the Scareclaw stuff, which the Scareclaw stuff like in tandem gets you to like the Manadium stuff, which is kind of insane. Like, and then like the right card here is going to be able to get him a search and a draw. But do take note, like this is testing. I think this is literally the first time my buddy here has played Manadium. So like there's going to be some misplays and stuff like that, and just, you know, be a little graceful. Understand that everyone once played a new deck at one point in time, but this was the entire point. We're at my buddy's house, we're just testing, and I think this deck is insane. I think if Infernobles did not get their support that they did, like this would be my deck of choice. My only complaint about Manadium, and I've said it time and time again, is they really kind of like threw the ball with their boss monster Prime Heart. Like if you look at all the other hearts out there, like Tri-Heart, Kaleido Heart, I did open Ash, okay, well, good for me. Kaleido Heart and like Arise Heart, like they're all insane, like they all do something, and then you get like Prime Heart that's just kind of lackluster. But it seems like the Konami knew that they really wanted the boss monster to be that Visa Amatara, which is their synchro. But we're gonna see a normal summon of Riem Heart, I believe. This card is insane. This card now has like a 1-card combo, which is really nice. But he's gonna summon out Torrid, which I know some Manadium players don't play Torrid. They play just the Meek, but we're gonna go into the new Manadium, which is going to bring back to level 2, and it's just going to pretty much allow him to synchro crime right up into the Amatar right there, yeah. So this card is pretty insane. It lets you grab Calarium, it lets you grab the Manadium card here, which I think this is, like I said, I've watched a few videos trying to help my friend out as well. So I think right here he was supposed to go for Calarium, the Manadium filled spell. I think was the correct call, because then he gets to bridge and do like some crazy stuff there. But he beats a Starfrost in hand, and he's just going to continue. I mean, like, this is pretty much insane. This is kind of like the format we kind of live in, where like combo decks do not lose to one hand trap unless their hand's bad. But the most combo decks like this format are so consistent, like the likelihood of them like losing to one hand trap is like, you know, if you lose to one hand trap, you're like pretty lucky. But like it's so insane to think that back in a day, like if you guys remember, like a long time ago, like there's like certain decks that lost to a single Ash Blossom, and now like decks just plow through it. Like we're even like me, I'm in the same boat. Like I normally, like I don't lose to like one hand trap. It takes like multiple to stop me. But like if I open like a very subpar hand of perfectly timed Imperm or perfectly timed Ash, just like can end my play. And I guess very well same here. Sometimes I even hold my hand traps for the Cross Sheep. I don't know if that's correct, but I do. I hold it for I hold it for the Cross Sheep, because that thing facilitates so much. Well, he's going to go ahead and use the Obsession to pop the Torrid. Torrid's going to get to the Meek. And this is kind of why I guess I like Torrid. You technically play, it allows you to play 4 copies of Meek, which is really nice. But we're going to go ahead and activate the Calarium to go ahead and grab the Riem Heart for follow-up, I believe. I don't even think he's used Riem Heart's effect, so maybe he can like use Riem Heart's like effect in the hand to special summon itself out. I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to see a link for a 3 into an Appaloosa. And then I believe, yep, so there we go, Riem Heart, pop, going to go Chainlink 1 Meek, Chainlink 2 Calarium, I believe. Calarium will bring back a level 4, which if he does this, no, he's just going to go ahead and use, oh no, there we go, I'm just reminding, there we go. Yeah, I'm reminding him of the thing. So he's just going to go ahead and go right into a cell, which I don't know if that's, yeah, so correct, again, learning, right? So we're going to correct the board state, we're going to go into Dispatter. With the Accel, Dispatter can bring back, so I think we walk him through here, because I think there's a way he can get to the, what's it called? He can get to Xing, the Sword Soul guy, the level 10 Sword Soul, and since he has the Manadium Trap, I believe he can use the Manadium Trap to not only negate something, but like quick effect, you know, like Banish, which would also like trigger the Xing, or Xinglong, or whatever, however you pronounce its name. But again, like we're testing, so it's all about, you know, trying to get like the optimal play. Like testing against, trying to learn this deck and testing against this deck doesn't exactly, you know, like it doesn't do us any like really benefit, right? But there we go. He does this instead. He does this route here, because he can contact fuse from the field, I believe. But now here we go. We have a 3 Material Appaloosa, set, reframing, negates with the bear. Like this is like a Manadium board right here, along with Finner just hanging out there. So normally you should probably wrap it up, right? You should be like, all right, well, this is too much, but nope, I'm going to try. Because like this deck does have a lot of stuff to like play through disruptions. Like truly it does. You just got to like play it correctly, time it correctly and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to normal summon Ogier. It's going to lose. And see, like the plan was to use tactics to attempt to take the Baron here. Because I can use the Baron to like pop something and then like link it off into an Isolde. But he's going to go ahead and reframing. And that's just too much. We go ahead and wrap it up and move on into game number 2. Game number 2, here we go. So I get to start out with a connector. That's such a strong start, man. I think people like really underestimate like what this deck can do. They're like some people in my locals like traumatized by connector, but it's like, you know, if I see Ogier too, like you're one hand trap, you open, still not going to do anything unless you hit Ogier. So I'm going to pitch the Turpin. We're going to snipe the Drill. He has double droplets and the Starfrost. And I think I decide to try and hit the Starfrost out of the hand too, because thank goodness, think of AGOV. I'm going to be able to stop one droplet, essentially, is what I'm going to be able to do. And it's technically stop both of them, because he can only activate one, and it'll resolve, but it'll just be negated, so. But we go to the Isolde line here. Normal, you know, to go ahead and send 4. There we go, Angel Ring. Angelica's Angel Ring is an insane card. I really can't believe Konami decided to give us a searchable Mizuki that just negates, that stops all the blowout cards. That's why I think this deck is, like, really good, in a really good spot. It's just going to allow us to really beat any of those blowout cards that we have. But we're going to summon out Ogier to send the Durandal. Then we're going to, I believe, go into Dempsey this line. This is a Dempsey line, I think. But let's see here. We're going to go ahead and grab Renaud. Renaud's like insane too. Like Renaud is pretty busted. Go into Angelica. Angelica's going to go ahead and grab us the field spell, which is, it doesn't really grab us the field, like, so it doesn't specifically say grab no bonus regime. It says grab a card that lists Charles, grab Horn of Oliphant or Charles, or a card that lists Charles in its name or in its card text. But we're going to banish 2 for Phoenix Blade, and I believe we DDR. I think no, do we? Yeah, we grab back DDR, I believe, because we're going to have access to the. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to fire off Angelica using the Phoenix Blade to go ahead and summon out Roland. And then we're going to, man, I saw the new Legacy or Legendary Collection that's coming out, like with all the super rares and stuff like that. Like we should have got like some like Infernoble Knight upgrades in that thing. Like an Ultimate Rare Charles would be so nice, but I digress. But we're going to use Magus here, or Malgus, to go ahead and shuffle back 3 and draw 1. Because we equipped it to the Roland, it got sent to the graveyard. Fun fact, if you guys don't know, Malgus shuffles back for cost. So that's pretty interesting. So Charles is on the field. We're going to equip with the Almus, link into Charles 1. So we're going to go Charles 1, Almus 2, grab back Gear Free to equip, field spell to special summon back out the Charles. We're going to connect the Roland to make a second Charles, which is going to give us 2 spell and trap negates. You then fire off Gear Freed. And I think, yeah, I have DDR in hand. So, like, I think I go DDR for Dolphin. Is there anything? Nope. So I go DDR for Dolphin, pitching the connector, summon Dolphin. Then I go ahead and banish 2 for the Phoenix Blade. Use Dolphin's effect to go ahead and pitch to look at his hand again. And I just snipe the Visas Starfrost here. Just because it's too good. Like, Visas, like, if he opens Visas alone, like, it could be kind of crazy. But then we're going to link off here into the most craziest card of the format, SP Little Knight. Like, arguably, I say this card should never have been made. Like, what this card does is literally insane. But we move to the end phase. We're going to go ahead and return Angelica, grab the Angel Ring, and grab the Oliver from the deck, which is going to allow us to pretty much equip all to 1 Charles. So, like, we have technically 3 disruptions coming from 1 Charles, 1 disruption from another, and then a Monster Negate from the Gear Freed, and ISP Little Knight. So, like, 5 disruptions total. And he draws all spells. That's kind of rough, but anyway, we're going to wrap it up and move on into that all-important Game 3. So, if you got Game 3 is going to be really important. Especially for any combo deck. Like, we have to see your cider bust, kind of, right? We got to see something. So I look at my hand, I draw 2 Imperms, Ricardetto, and a triple Tactics Talent. So I decide to hold very strong here, and I'll explain my reasons why. Is because I want to do something. If he goes full combo, I know like double Imperm and a Tactics could potentially steal a Baron, pretty much. But he opens Finra. Finra is so good. Like, honestly, it was almost worth me like hitting the Finra here. But it's just like so insane. Which I guess like if only this deck was using Finrear, like I would maybe be okay with it. But it's just like every deck can use Finrear. And I do apologize as of recently, guys. Like my angles have been just kind of off. Like I need to take a little bit of a better. It's still kind of hard for me to stand up and sit down. So like normally I stand up and look and just see that the mats are on screen, then I sit down. So like I just need to take a little bit of extra time to like make sure that the angles are good. But anyway, it's driving me nuts how it's like a little crooked. And like when I swear, man, when I look at it, it's not crooked. But anyway, we're going to see a normal summon of Meek, and I think we're going to see Reamheart Fire Off or Starfrost. Reamheart, yep, so Reamheart target, special. He's going to get to do 3 Chainlinks here, which is going to be nice. He's going to get to, oh man. I called it a long time ago. Like, if you guys go back and check, like, some of my older videos talking about, like, Scareclaw and stuff like that, like, I was saying that Visas is going to get a Synchro Archetype, and it's going to revolve around destroying stuff. And it's going to be so good. And there you go. It got here, and it's literally like one of the best decks in the format. It's kind of difficult. It's kind of hard to say because this deck literally loses to Droll. And I know people, it's very similar. Like, normally, this deck loses so hard to Droll that it doesn't matter. Like, there's some hands, yes, like every deck, there are some hands that can beat the one hand trap that beats them. But, like, 90% of the time, like, this deck will lose to a single Droll. And it's just so crazy that just one card that's in all the side deck is, like, so prevalent that it's like you always got to prepare for it. So he decides to go into a cell bring back, Synchro into the Baron. So you'll see here, I kind of correct him. I tell him not to, I was like, hey, don't put the Baron up there. Don't do that. Or I think he decides to do a different round. I can't remember. But there we go. I just casually slide it down because he wants to keep that extra monster zone open for Cross Sheep. But yeah, this deck truly, Manadium is such an insane deck, and like I said earlier in the video, if Infernobles did not get their support, your boy would be playing this deck tenfold. I would probably be ending on Prime Heart just because I believe that the boss monster is so sick looking. But that's just me. Probably not the most competitive play. I probably wouldn't do it, but it would just upset me. Like they could have made Prime Heart so good in the sense of like just making the card like a DPE, target a Manadium card you control, and like a card your opponent controls to destroy them. It would work well with the strategy. It'd be locked with Manadiums. But nope. They're like, let's have this card attack 50 times, even though it doesn't matter because the deck can already put up lethal. But he's going to make the Visa Samsara, which is this Visa here. I don't think this Samsara I think is the new one that we haven't seen yet. That card's actually insane because it meets both the requirements of Visas and the 1521 stat line. So like it like kind of like brings the decks together even more. But Cross Sheep, which is probably one of the best, like this card like literally completes the whole strategy here. But we're going to see a Contact Fuse into the Vicious Astrolabe, which this card is nuts for going second. It's just going to be able to like do so much damage. Bringing back the Torrid, which again, I know some people aren't on Torrid, but like in this scenario, like it's just fine. It's another copy of Meek, I believe. We're going to go ahead and see the Xinglong. Now, see, he also made it so, like, he doesn't have Little Knight right now. So, like, I don't know what else is in his hand, but technically speaking, I know he has Reframing, so if he sets the Reframing and he passes, he could technically have used the Finrear and the Cross Sheep and go into, like, Little Knight if he had it. And that would have been pretty cool. But I'm going to fire off Imperm to attempt to hit the Baron here. And I see this as, like, a big misplay. I should have fired both Imperms off, knowing that he has the Counter Trap. I should have just went ahead and fired them both off on the Xinglong, because assuming if he was going to negate the one on the Xinglong or Xinling or whatever it is, I should have went ahead and used it. But so because he doesn't use a monster effect negate, right? So like he would have been forced to, because right now my tactics in my hand is dead because he didn't use Baron to negate. He let the first Imperm go through and then decided not to stop the second one. So this is going to be very difficult to end up cracking. So I think maybe moving back to it. So right here on Resolution, I'll be equipping the Durandal. He's going to use the Xinglong to shuffle back 3. He's going to shuffle back his 3 Meeks, which is pretty crazy. And I just reading the card because I know it can shuffle back, but I want to make sure it's like you can only use one effect per turn. But sadly, it is. I did not read that on there. However, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player, so I really can't read in general. But so he's going to be able to banish, I think, 1 from field and grave. So he does that, and it causes everything to fall off, which is really insane. But I finally get to use tactics. And I believe I try to draw 2 because I'm forced to now. I have 1 card in hand, I gotta draw 2. And I draw 2 awful cards. I wouldn't say I draw 2 awful cards. I draw 2 cards that it just, like, doesn't do me any good, I should say. Which is all right. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, you gotta do what you can. So I'm gonna go ahead and activate Heritage Chalice. And in my mind, I was like, oh, if I can play through this, if I can grab Ricardetto, if I grab this Ogier, I can, like, use Ricardetto, which I somehow thought was still in my hand for some reason, even though it's banished. I was like, I can do it. My brain was just all frazzled. I was like, oh man, I could have done this so differently. But again, like this is just to showcase you guys like the testing and like what both decks can do post AGOV, which I intend to upload like a bunch more videos of both Manadium and like this Infernoble like post AGOV, so like you guys can see like what it does. I actually end up scooping here. Yep, so that was in my hand. So please remember to guys like this type of content, give a like and a subscribe so you don't miss our live streams. And yeah, without further ado guys, this is Charles from Team COG signing out.